Okay, so you guys can never say that I don't love you because this is a cork board that I've sacrificed for the cause and propped up on my piano. So, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through kind of the biggest mistake that I'm seeing in these kind of practice prompts, and I'm going to kind of talk over how to fix that. So the biggest thing I'm seeing, and I'm going to get down here so that you guys can't, I'm not going to block your view. The thing that I'm seeing on a lot of the paragraphs that I've looked at so far, essays rather, is that people are not using any kind of textual evidence. So we might explain a little bit about what we're talking about, but we never go into any kind of detail and never use any kind of actual quote or material from the letter or the poem or the biography. And you can use the biography as well. So when I say integrate quotes, what I mean is prove your point using the words that Whitman actually wrote, because it's one thing to say it, it's another thing to show it. So this is a really quick paragraph that I put together. It's not perfect. I'm not going to sit here and say this is the perfect paragraph, and I'll point out its weaknesses as we go. But I was afraid I would run out of corkboard, first off, and it's written in Sharpie, so there was no going back once it was on here. So really kind of quickly, I'll go through and read it, and if for whatever reason you can't see it, I will type it into the description box below, and you can kind of read it as I go through and listen. So there's a huge difference in the tone of the poem, The Letter. The tone of the letter starts calm and then gets frantic as the soldier slips into his dreams. Whitman describes a battle scene, quote, I hear the irregular snap, snap, I hear the sounds of different missiles, the short of rifle balls. This shows the chaos of battle. The tone of the letter is much more calm and informational. Even when describing a big injury, Whitman spares the details. He writes, quote, he got badly wounded in the leg and side at Fredericksburg that eventful Saturday. There was not as much detail in the letter. He's delivering information, not evoking a feeling like the panic and tragedy in the poem. End paragraph. And then there's some cute little tips we'll go over at the end. So first and foremost, I have a topic sentence that I'm going to go ahead and draw a box around. It's right there, okay? Huge difference in tone of the poem and the letter. So you know from the get-go, I'm talking about tone, talking about the poem, talking about the letter. So I described the poem with the letter. Starts as calm and then gets frantic. So I've got my descriptors here. This marker is no good. I've got my descriptors here. Okay. Calm and frantic. So now I need some kind of evidence to back up that assertion that it's either calm or frantic. I wouldn't do both at this point, not in a paragraph this long. I'm going to go with frantic because it's the main difference between the tone of the poem and the tone of the letter. Okay? So let's see, frantic, yada yada, soldier dream, yeah yeah. Whitman describes the battle scene, comma, quote, I hear the regular snap snap, I hear the sound of different missiles, the short of rifle balls. And note, at the end the period is inside the quote. At the beginning the comma goes on the word before, it's outside the quote. So it's going to be attached to the last word. You don't want a period hanging out right here. That's not where it goes. I see that a lot, okay? So I got my quote, got the frantic tone. I've got a little description of why that's important. It describes, it shows the chaos of battle. Okay? Now I'm going to contrast that with the tone of the letter. Okay? So the tone of the letter is much more calm and informational. Might could have used informative there, but it'll be alright. The tone of the letter is much more calm and informational. Even when describing a big injury, Whitman spares the details. He writes, quote, he got badly wounded in the leg and shot at Fredericksburg that eventful Saturday. And again, the period is inside the quotation marks. A big mistake I see when including quotes in paragraphs is people will want to end the paragraph right here. Just like stack a quote in there and call it done. You don't want to do that. You always want to say something about the quote that we're using. So even those few drafts that I saw that used quotes, we weren't really describing why that quote was important. And that's kind of what we need. Now there was very little up here. I didn't go into a lot of detail and that is one of the weaknesses of this paragraph. It's a very stark transition, but it does explain why that's important. And then here, there's not much detail. He is delivering information, not evoking a feeling like panic and tragedy in the poem. And so I've kind of capped that back into how that is a contrast, right? So my big tips for writing paragraphs, including quotes, and you'll want to include some quotes, is don't end a paragraph with a quote. You gotta explain why it's there, gotta give the relevance. Always have a topic sentence and a tie back, huge difference in tone, and then I kind of recap that difference in tone. And then for this essay in particular, you might find that you have some shorter paragraphs, and I think that's okay as long as your essay does go through and describe those differences and describe those similarities, and there will be similarities. I think it's easier to look at the differences, honestly, but I mean, they're both there. Kind of trying to think of any last little bits. If you're having trouble writing an introduction, I would err on the side of biography. So that's what I got for you. Good luck. Email me if you have questions.